Welcome back to the channel, guys. Well, as you know, I have done a little bit of riding on the new GS8, only for an hour test ride from Barnstone with BMW. But if you really
an hour?
what sort of
you
test
call
ride?
that a test?
What sort of test ride can you do in an hour? But I thought we need someone who's done a few miles on the GS8 to give us their thoughts on this bike. And Mossy, you've just got back from southern Spain, Marbella.
I have, yeah.
How many miles?
I did 3,000 on that trip, and I've done another 500 in the UK
Have you really?
so far.
So you know this bike
I'm
pretty
the
well.
authority.
You're the authority of all things GS8 at the moment.
Well, I probably have gleaned more from the sort of 2 weeks, and well, I've had it for 3 weeks now, and the 3,500 miles than you did in a single hour.
I did an hour. After an hour, I knew it was all right. But this is the ASA version, so the auto version. So if you're interested in the new GS, and especially the ASA, and you want to know what Mossy thinks to it, you need to set yourselves down, get yourself a beverage, and chop through. So you've done 3,500 miles on this bike.
Yep.
Obviously, you've probably done a fair few miles on the old GS, not the GSA.
Oh, the 1250s, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know what? I think the first one I ever rode was the 1100.
Yeah.
And every incarnation since then.
So I know that the auto's a bit of a. I think my views on it was it seemed pretty decent, but it wasn't suit me. But like I say, I spent an hour on it.
Can we come to that? Because
we can come to that.
My assessment of this bike, particularly for what I've just done, you know, I sort of averaged about 300 miles a day on it. I did a 520 mile stint on it on the last day.
Big.
No complaints about its touring ability. I mean, plus points, massive tank. This is the GSA, of course, the Adventure.
30 litres, isn't it? 30 litre tank.
300 miles pretty easily. I reckon you'd probably get bored trying to do this, but you could get 4 out of it even.
400 miles on the tank, you think?
It is really quite frugal if you just calm down a bit, you know. Super comfy, just a proper mile muncher. Really good in that regard, you know. Let's go through a few things. The motor I like particularly. Do you know what? It's got this really, really strong, I'd like to say mid-range. It's just above mid-range in the road mode that I spent most of the time in. And I'll tell you, man, it does rush. There's quite a kick to it. I reckon I sampled that on that run to Spain about 6 times, simply because it was gutsy enough below that. I wasn't in a massive hurry.
You don't think you need more?
No,
it's got enough power.
Oh, easy. And just so flexible, usable. You know, you want to squirt past something, drop a gear, bosh, go. Just really quite relaxing as well, you know. It's not a stress mobile at all, you know. And it doesn't will you into going fast like some sports bikes can. And don't forget, I was paying for the petrol. I was footing the bill for everything.
So you never went over 3,500 revs the whole time then?
I mean, it cost me about $1,000 all in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
over how many days was this?
I did in total about 13, but I didn't ride for 3 of the days. Right. That was what I loved about this adventure. You know, it was my adventure. I went by myself. I wasn't some pampered guest on a launch, as we often are. And because I made the decisions and sort of got going when I wanted, went where I wanted, I just did whatever came to mind for me.
So here's the beast. It actually could need a bit of a wash, mate. But after that sort of mile,
hang on a minute.
That's the BMW's job, isn't it? When you get
3,500 miles worth of dirt on that. Give us a break.
Yeah, she does look very utilitarian, isn't it?
Yeah, I like. You know, it looks as though it's meant for business.
Yeah,
and it is. You know,
yeah.
Its ability matches the look. I've just told you about my story. I went into a petrol station and I lost my wallet, the cards, everything. It was the end of the world. Well, it was for 10 minutes until I found that I'd put it in a different pocket.
Too many pockets, mate.
Oh, man.
This kit.
I tell you, the relief. Right, some bloke comes in to pay for his petrol. I cannot tell you how joyous I felt about the whole situation once I'd found my wallet.
Yeah.
I went up to him and I said, "I love you," and he sort of went, "Homosexual alert, you know, what the hell is going on there?" Luckily, the bloke behind the counter...
Did he find it then, this fella?
No.
Just because you found it, you were so happy.
I just wanted to express joy, love and affection to anyone I could. Luckily, when he saw me say that to the cashier and then address the whole of Spain with the same level of affection, he started getting it. Yeah. But then the cashier explained, look, he's just found his wallet, he thought he'd lost it. Yeah. So honestly, Jesus, if that was a reminder... Just put things in the same place every single time.
I'm terrible for that.
Well, I'll tell you what the problem is now. I can't find the key.
It's like your wallet all over again.
Where's that gone? Should we talk about the bike?
Let's talk about the bike.
I want to add more about what it's taken me to, though, and the great experience.
The journey,
because it was fabulous. Bike. Loved its mile munching capacity and just the ease and I don't know. It's just such a friendly thing. Listen, it's big and it's tall, and I have in the past had compromised experiences because GS Adventures are quite a bigger piece of kit, aren't they, than the normal GSs. But this one, because it's got it's
lowering.
Yeah,
I was going to say, has it got the lowering?
It has.
It's fully kitted. This one, I think. It's fancy.
I think everything you can buy is on this. It's about 26 grand's worth. I think it might be a tad more.
Yeah.
I don't think I included the sat nav in that, so that's probably an extra bloody 700 quid or so, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got an adaptive ride height, so I think anything under about 30 miles an hour, it starts lowering imperceptibly.
Yeah.
From a movement point
front
of view,
and back as well, not just the rear, isn't it? The front drops.
Yeah,
as well.
Whatever. The whole thing lowers enough for me to get my feet on the ground, and
lowers. You're not that vertically challenged, are you?
Oh, I'm only 5'6".
Okay.
5'6" and a half. I'll have you know, it's the half that counts. Apparently, I mean, it's. I have this. Here's another thing that I ought to have mentioned that irks me.
Right.
The side stand is too short.
It is over a fair amount there, isn't it?
Look, not every place you park is flat as, is it?
Yeah, no.
There's a bit of a funny camber that won't work in your favour, and believe you me, when it was over as far as this, and let's see if I can do it now, you know, it's a bit of a bugger.
Here we go, we're going to get him dropping it live on camera. Right?
No, we're not. You know, a bit of effort is required, and when I was out in Spain, I had to move it forward to a more agreeable place.
Did you actually be able to get on?
The stand's too short. But yeah, going back to the plus points, comfort, big score for that.
Yeah.
Tank range, massive score for that. Love the engine. Do you know what? It weighs I reckon with everything I had on board, and you'll be able to see in the pictures that I did not travel as lightly as I possibly could.
You never do. I remember we went to Copenhagen. I've never seen so much kit on a GS.
Oh, there was a lot more on this time, I'll tell you. I reckon it was a good bit over 300k. Bit over.
They're about 250ish, even unladen, aren't they?
264, I think it is, coated with 90% full fuel tank. Right. It's a big bike.
Yeah.
But, you know, like all GSs, get the wheels turning. It's like, what? The balance, these things have got no right to behave as well and as in the civilised fashion and the manageable fashion that they do.
No, I agree.
As long as the wheels are turning, and by that I mean from 1 mile an hour up.
Should we do a little bit of a test of sort of pushing it around? Just give people an idea of the weight in the...
Right now. I need, no, I'm not asking the question.
Warm up for it, get yourself ready.
I'm simply saying I need to psych myself up a bit here. You know, look, this is a heavy bike on grass. You know, it's probably a bit of an unreasonable test, really, isn't it? But first, I've got to get it up like so. Yeah. I mean, I could, I think, ride it very gently without chewing the grass up. But, and you know, look, it's fine until it isn't. And as my picture outside my house showed, when it isn't in a big way.
Yeah. Well,
See, you know, that's what, I mean, it's rider error, of course, isn't it? But that's all you need to do to get yourself in a pickle.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's nice and soft if it wants to go down on the grass.
This is probably not a typical place to park it, is it?
Yeah, but it's funny though. Watch out for that hornet there, don't drop it on that one, for Christ's sake.
I mean, that looks minuscule, doesn't it?
It looks absolutely minuscule, doesn't it? Compared, look at that, parked next to it. So you love the bike. How did you find the automatic gearbox? What's your view on automatic gearboxes?
Good question.
Yeah.
No, very, very pro.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, when I first tried Honda's DCT, I actually said to myself, why do I want a computer changing gear for me? You know? I hadn't opened my mind enough to what it had to offer. Anyway, I've had several long-termers with them, and I've asked for them each time, so that's a vote of confidence that I've now generated in them. And that system now, do you remember, were you on the NT1100? Honda
I
launch?
wasn't.
That was the sort of most recent incarnation, and the job is sussed. It's a lovely, seamless. Some people are still a bit anti, but for me, it's better at changing gear than me.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes when you're in those situations where you just want to do that job really swiftly to just get past stuff, it's ace at that. And the fact that you can override it just by stabbing a button, you know, I mean, have you seen the F1 drivers coming down the gearbox? Just going, doo, 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 doo. You can do that. You just keep batting that button and it just drops down seamlessly. You cannot say that about this. Look, it's not bad, and when it's in a good mood, it does feel quite decent.
You sort of got varying sort of performance from it. So sometimes it'd be all right, and other times you'd think, that's a bit clunky.
Let me sum it up by saying it's not a bad first attempt, but do you know what? It's a bit like, do you remember GS's when they had a really clunky agricultural feeling gearbox? It could be like that. Sometimes it's seamless, and it's quite good when it's changing down. It's got a blipper. There are two modes. You can either have it in manual, and I've got a gear lever. Well, that's got a gear lever on it. So you prod that when it's in manual. And even when it's in auto, when it's deciding when it's going to change gear itself, you can override it by prodding at that lever. But I tried it in auto a few times, and I just didn't quite like the timing of the changes. So the thing I didn't care for so much, I put it in auto, didn't like the time of the changes, went back to manual, but it was just a bit jerky. Not every single change, but there's a couple of, I reckon if you had a pillion on the back, they'd get a bit cheesed off, actually. Okay. It felt like a poor clutchless change. Right. And this is the thing that really started getting on my nerves. When I was at an engine stop situation, or I just needed to do a U-turn or something like that, the lack of clutch lever bothered me, because you have to do it I don't like the Honda in that regard either. I like feathering the clutch. You know, you don't see many off-roaders not feathering the clutch. It's all part of the ability to control the bike, you know. Suddenly this bike felt very tall, very heavy, and I just got a bit nervous about that weight going against me. And worse still, and you've seen me do this just now, if I just want to move the bike, or as I needed to on the photo shoot that I did, just do a bit of a 3-point turn, you can find yourself with a hill hold on, though that is switchable. If there's a gradient, it just comes on automatically to stop you rolling back. But worse still, when the parking brake comes on, you cannot move that bike unless the keyless ignition system or electrical system is live, and you need to pull the front brake and just tap the starter button. Basically, to make that bike roll again and be free from that park position, you must go through a procedure. And I just turned Marbears blue on a number of occasions. You know, I mean, it didn't help.
What, because it wouldn't disengage?
Yeah, I wanted a mechanic. Yeah, I was stuck in that position until I went through that procedure. And you know, if I parked it just like I did at this lovely pub here, which we must give to a mention. Where are we? The Wheat Sheaf.
The Wheat Sheaf pub I don't know, where is it? It's Salisbury area.
It
You're
is
it's just outside of Salisbury, really, about 5 miles outside of Salisbury.
It is, and Google it.
It's nice.
I mean, we went in and I just asked if we could sort of mess about with the bike in the car park here. They couldn't have been more helpful.
I don't think they were too pleased. We
I'm
did
not
some donuts round
No.
and round.
And I'm not saying just steam past the gates and park your bike next to the table like we are, but all I'm saying is it was the lovely Charlotte, wasn't it?
Charlotte.
She couldn't have been more helpful.
Yeah.
Back to my temper loss. I just wanted to move the bike from there to here, and I'd not taken the key, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You've got to have the key with you in your pocket. To disarm it is just alarmingly and unnecessarily complex.
And you've got no clutch lever, so why not have a little mechanical
Exactly, like the
device
Hondas do,
or even
yeah.
just a button you can.
Yeah.
I guess.
So, no, that's a good point. Just one single button to override it.
I know it's the first generation of this
Yeah,
technology.
yeah, yeah.
On the
No,
BMW,
they'll
isn't
get it. I think they'll get
Yeah.
it.
And they might be able to improve it with sort of updates and stuff.
I didn't hate it
No.
at all. I hated the parking brake.
Yeah.
Like with a passion. You know, I mean, you know all those bags I had on the back?
Yeah.
They could have been full of, they could have been my swear boxes effectively.
You
Because
still
they
would
would
have needed more.
Oh, just really annoying. I got angry in a bit of a disproportionate fashion. It's funny, I just talked to Charlotte, the girl in the pub, about whether her boyfriend had any sort of annoying features.
No, Mum, we've only just met this lady. She's already asking her if she's got a boyfriend.
Well, I said, you know, I was just sort of making an analogy with partners, you know, they can't be perfect.
No.
And you get arsey over some minor details, don't you?
Yeah.
That parking brake, that ruined my life, or felt as though it did.
So that bag you got on the back, that's something BMW.
That's a BMW accessory.
BMW
I just
accessory.
said, Neil, I need some luggage.
Yeah.
Neil Allen, lovely man.
Lovely man, Neil. We all know Neil.
When you say, can I have this? He keeps saying yes. That's what makes him lovely. Yeah.
And then you've got SW Motec tank.
Really good. Listen, I've only done 3,000 miles. That might be more than some people do in a year. I've only had it for a few weeks, but I like that it's got a really solid sort of integrity to it. It doesn't collapse in. So, and I just like that feature that means I can just get it off. And, you know, it's got a magnetic locator for the little C-ring. So,
Okay, so it's easy to take
it
on
made
and off.
life a lot easier.
Yeah. How did you find the comfort then?
Generally great, like, you know, relaxed riding position, roomy, great wind protection. This, on that last day where I was, you know, obviously I got off the bike a couple of times, but I was sort of riding for 11 hours, only at 10 and a half. Did I just want to move a bit? That's all.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying, oh, no more, I must pull over.
Yeah.
So, no,
So you're
good.
doing the old standing up and all that takes a bit of weight off your ass.
Yeah, I mean, I
sometimes
didn't know. I was sat in it for like 10 and a half hours.
It's quite a nice, wide, padded.
Yeah, and listen,
Padded
we've
seat,
all
isn't
got
it?
different arses, haven't we? And
We have.
different tolerance levels
Yeah.
anyway. I was the person ultimately that wanted to stop. The bike wasn't making me stop, you know.
Yeah.
I stopped when I fancied stopping. Switch gear should be backlit.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This is a £26,000 bike in this trim. There shouldn't really be anything to moan about, should there?
No, they shouldn't.
But it's taken me a while to... In fact, that one, I used to know what that did, and I've forgotten.
That's like the main button that takes you into all of the other options, isn't it? For your heated grips and stuff like that, so you can set
It is.
shortcuts, just like a shortcut.
No, that... Yeah, and that's your favourite button, isn't
Yes,
it? You
that's-
select
yeah,
what you
that's it.
want on that button.
That's
I've got
it.
the heated grips.
Oh, you rode it for an hour, mate. You've been on it for 3
Yeah,
weeks.
but it's strange, you know. You concentrate. I was having too much fun to be bothered about the bloody
I know.
motorbike.
But parking brake aside, the actual
Oh, really
GSA
good. Really good.
touring,
Really good. Really
any
good.
other elements you think, well, that could be slightly better? Or was you sort of happy with?
Yeah, I mean, suspension really liked. I like the fact that he could adjust it, only then to not adjust it, strangely. Because, you know, in road, the setting is just right. It's just got that necessary level of compliance to keep it comfy. But if you've got a bit of a hoof on it, it supported the bike pretty well. I know there's probably still, hard to believe this, but there's still a lot of people who haven't ridden a GS. Get on one. I mean, if you have to do it in the dark or without telling your mates, still do it. You cannot deny that these are properly sorted motorbikes. I mean, Christ, how long has it been on the market for them to refine now? Since 1980 or something?
Something ridiculous like that.
40 odd years.
There's very few bikes. If you've got some proper distance to cover,
Oh, man,
there's
do
very
it.
few bikes which will eat up the miles, quite like a GS, I think.
I think all you need to tour Spain is a map, a blindfold and a pin. And each morning just go...
And
go
your
in
wallet.
there,
And
your wallet, yeah, don't forget that, for God's sake. I discovered, quite by accident, some really quite lovely routes, man. And here's the thing, though I went at this time of year, and until I got to Spain, it was a bit parky, it's one of the reasons why you can get cheaper accommodation, why there's less people on the road, and just, you know, though a few places were closed, it's just an altogether easier experience because you're off season.
Was there any moments on those lovely mountainous roads where you thought, oh, I wish I was on a different bike to this?
I think I'd resigned myself to the fact that I was doing that sort of journey, and I'm always a bit wary about going bonkers. I'll tell you a small story. I've told it many times. You may have heard it. You know the road it's either from Malaga to Ronda.
Oh yeah,
that
Ronda
famous.
road.
Well, I crashed on that once and spent 10 days in Ronda Hospital. I hurt myself quite badly.
Oh, did you? Oh, God.
So I've always been a bit wary. A tumble in Spain has got much more serious ramifications.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not saying, you know, if you're only a few miles from your house, go mad and dive off because you'll be fine.
So here's a question.
Go
If
on.
you had to do the whole thing again and
Oof,
you could
yeah.
pick any bike, would you still pick the GS?
I'd like to do it again on a gearbox version. I think
Okay.
it would make a difference, you know.
Okay.
I like big tanks.
Yeah.
They're a big plus point for me. I was originally going to go on my V-Strom 800 long-termer.
okay,
I think that would have been pretty good as well and a bit more manageable, but it wouldn't have had the legs of this. I have a confession to make. I'm going to pause now while I think of how I'm going to say it. So hang on a second. Bear in mind that at that point I'd done something like 3,220 miles on this bike, and I didn't have a single moment. The very last time I turned the handlebars, I fell off the bloody thing.
Oh, did you?
In my drive at home. I've got this little drain cover outside one of my doors, and it just kicked the front tyre. And this is when the weight and the height, you would have saved it. You just would have put your foot down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when I put my foot down, sometimes there isn't any ground beneath my sole. And it just started to go, and I couldn't hold it.
Once it goes.
Yeah. However, I will say this. I don't know if these engine bars are an extra on this bike. I suspect they're not.
I don't think so.
I have marked the finish on those and nothing else.
That's a little bit of damage where you...
No, the other side.
Oh, right. Was that
that is against my car. I tell you, it's quite wide, this setup here.
Yeah.
I did some easy filtering, mind you, near Bordeaux. It was all right, you know, blotting a BM with pannies. And
they're quite handy if you put resting your feet on as well, these little things, if you tried that.
Sounds like an amateur's trick to me. Wouldn't be considering that. Can I just blurt it out?
Blurt it out.
A couple of little things, details that really mattered. Heated grips, bloody hell. They came into their own. I mean, 3 settings, never had them on 3, too hot. Brilliant. Heated seats as well, never switched those on. I had Kai's heated pants and gilet, really did the business up in northern France where it was chilly and needed. Yeah. And another thing, do you know what? All of my long-termers have had chains, and it's often irked me, so I've actually put a Taturo oiler on my V-Strom 800, and that saves me a hell of a lot of maintenance, but there is nothing like what this has. Shaft drive, I just loved the fact that I just did not have to give it a moment's thought. You know?
It's nice, especially when you're doing a massive amount of miles like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I went through a few heavy rainstorms. Matters not, does it? Listen, the gearbox bike will not have the parking brake, and I think that's all I need to love it wholly.
Yeah.
As it is, I really like it and admire it a great deal, and it's transported me on a fantastic couple of weeks, it really has. I mean, I was moved to say, coming around one of the hairpins in the Pyrenees, I actually shouted out loud, I so want to do this, i.e. all of the time. I would just love to do what I was doing. Doing itchy boots, you know?
Yeah. It's incredible, isn't it? You cannot beat touring on a motorcycle. And as you said, it's great with friends, but it's also really nice on your own, isn't it? Where you've got none of that other
you are the
pressure
boss.
to do. You're the boss, exactly. You're doing the schedule. You're deciding where you're going. If you want to have a line in the morning, have a line in the morning, you know. You can't beat it.
So listen, anybody who's a bit 50-50 on going to Europe at all, even for a weekend, don't be 50-50, be 100%.
Well, thanks, mate. Thanks for your feedback on that. That's really interesting to know. We're going to do a little bit more with Mossy, so you will see Mossy again. He's actually going off to Portugal for me for the Speed RS, the new Speed 1200 RS launch.
Speed Triple, he's trying to say.
Triple, I'm trying
Speed
to say.
Triple,
That's
give
the
me the
one.
full
Speed
title,
Triple,
John.
Speed Triple.
Speed Triple, 1200 RS, I'll have you know.
Portimao.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, I have.
Okay,
that
good.
is the most amazing racetrack. And do you know what? I did a count the other day.
Oh,
How many tracks do you think?
What you've done?
Yeah, I was surprised myself.
15? Was that
15?
Am I way off?
Fucking hell, 53.
53 tracks?
Yeah. I mean, I am old and I've been a journo for 30 years.
Including the TT? Including the TT?
Yeah, that ended well. Oh, yes.
You did count that as one of the 53.
I mean, listen, if I have to, hang on, if I have to count how many tracks that I've crashed on, that might be 50. Do you know, Cadwell Park, I think I've crashed on every corner, both going in and coming out. But they were the heady days when I didn't know what I was doing. That was before I met Ron Haslam, who taught me how to ride a bike properly. Good on you, Ron.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant, mate. Well, so like I say, Mossy will be back shortly for your speed.
Delectation.
He's going to be, so we're going to do a little bit more of Mossy over the coming year, I think. So.
Well, good. News to me. Are you going to pay me?
Oh, I don't know about, don't get silly now. I'll buy you a nice lunch.
I've been on many launches and I've done many, many miles on motorbikes. That was right up there with one of the better trips, I'll tell you. No, I really enjoyed it,
Super. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We will see Mossy again soon. We're going to tuck into a nice bit of lunch. I'm not sure what the menu's like, actually. We'll have to have
they haven't turned the ovens off, have they?
Oh, I hope not. Yeah. We're hungry. But thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks so much. Have a look. What do you have to do then to get the parking brake? Have you got the key on you? That's the first job. Have you got the key?
I haven't.
So you can't move the bike.
No, right, okay. For some reason,
it's not
on. Hang on, let's see if we can...
That's a bit odd.
I think it's because...
It's in range, and we turned it off to push it round, didn't we? Yeah.
But under normal circumstances, let's just see if I can move that. No, I can move it.
Yeah,
I can move it.
It's not on. Must be in your bag, is it? On your bag? It's in your jacket. What about your jacket?
I mean, I've got so many bloody jackets.
Well, the good news is you've definitely got it on you because the bike is waking up, so it's definitely here somewhere.
That is bizarre. Where the hell is that?
Does it wake up now if you turn it on? At least you know if you've got it on your back, your person then. It turns on now.
Yeah.
You must have it about your person. It's quite a big key as well, isn't it?
It's a whopping key.
It's not in the cubby.
No, I don't think so.
You're spinning now, haven't you?
Fucking hell.
You got it.
That's the problem with keyless stuff, isn't it?
It's a perfectly good place for the key to go, and it's called the ignition. You and technology, mate, you don't get on that well, do you? You know, you're not best friends, are you?
You have to live with these things, ideally. I mean, this bike has so many features that even a 3-week test, I've learnt quite a bit more about it in my day-to-day running around in it in the UK than I did during the long tour, you know?
Yeah. Right.
I'll be sorry to hand it back.
It's a fine, fine machine.